Hello everyone, my name is Leonidas I and this game is Rise of Kingdoms. And oh my god, do we have two new commanders on the commander list? Everyone is probably super excited. We finally have our most iconic character that everyone is super excited about, Leonidas I. And on top of that, we have another commander which is called Guan Yu. This is gonna be the two commanders I'm gonna talk about in this video, and I'm gonna review and do my first impression about them. What do we notice about the new commanders? Is their freaking look. Now, personally and honestly, I don't like the way they designed Leonidas. I want to try to be a little bit polite, but in my opinion, they could have done a much better look. Considering that everyone, and probably 99.8% of the players playing this game, they have seen the movie 300, they could have done a much better job. If you would have given paint to a kid and give the picture of Leonidas, he would have done a much better job. They bullied Alexander the Great, and now they are butchering Leonidas. Amen. Now, how can we get these two commanders? Because you're probably clicking on the sculptures and it says coming soon. Well, I think it might be just very easy how we can find out about that. We know about Attila as well. He's also a commander that we're gonna have anytime soon. He has the same thing coming soon. But one thing we know about Attila is that he's in the Mightiest Governor event. Some of the oldest kingdoms, they already have him in the Mightiest Governor event. Meaning that Leonidas will most likely gonna be in the Mightiest Governor event. More or less. You know, if this says coming soon, things can probably change, but I'm definitely not gonna change as much. We are expecting, after Attila and Takeda, we are expecting another Mightiest Governor commander, and we are also expecting another Will event commander. We are also expecting 2 infantry, because this has been the way how things have been going in the Rise of Kingdoms. We always had 2 cavs, then 2 infantry, after that 2 archers. So what we're gonna have after these 2 bad boys, we're definitely gonna have 2 archers again. Now if we go into Takeda, we already know that he is from the Wheel of Fortune. And if we go to Guan Yu, it also says Wheel of Fortune. Usually the strongest one, they kind of put it in the Wheel of Fortune. This is something that I just noticed. This is just, you know, one of my theories, that usually the Will commanders, they are usually the strong ones. I'm not saying that the MG commanders, they are not strong. This is just something I've been going through, that, you know, the Will ones, they're kind of a little bit more stronger. Now I haven't gone to the skills yet. We're gonna get there, because I know many of you are super excited and you want to hear my review and my input about these 2 new commanders. But I just want to get that out of the way, pretty much from where we can obtain them. Right. Let's talk about their skills, right? King of Sparta increased the health of troops by Leonidas by up to 30%. Now this is very interesting because it doesn't mention infantry specific. It says health of troops. Deals damage to up to 3 targets in a fan-shaped area, up to 600 damage factor, and targets under the effect of silence or attack reduction will take an additional 50% damage. That's freaking insane. Now here is the problem. Which I think it might have a conflict. Because we already have a commander that increase the target's damage. Each time this target receives normal attack, there is a 50% chance to receive an extra 20% normal attack damage. Alright, it's specified here the normal attack damage. You see how complicated it is with the wording when they don't do a proper description. It's here they just say will take additional 50% damage. Well, what kind of damage? Normal attack damage or all kind of damage? Skill damage? My opinion is that if they don't mention all damage, I don't think it's skill. So they're probably referring that it might take additional normal attack and counter attack damage. And from what I'm trying to understand, what Takeda says on his primary skill, they will only take normal attack damage. right? Because we know there is counter-attack damage, normal attack damage, and skill damage. Pretty much that's what you can get from a battle log. So if this guy takes damage, it meaning that the target is going to take more counter-attack damage and normal damage. Just a theory, just a theory. Obviously, we need to test if that's how it's going to be. But still, that's pretty insane. And I'm really curious how it will go if you have Takeda and Leonidas in the same army and they both pop their skills in the same time. Will that overlap one to another? We're about to see. But this is pretty insane. This is really insane because he also does fan shape area, meaning he hits up to 3 targets. So if you have an AoE, I don't know, attack reduction commander like Ethelflaed. Ethelflaed does attack reduction as well. It says silence or attack reduction. There you go. When the army led by this commander contains only infantry units, increase defense by 10%. Wow, 30% defense bonus. The speed of rage gained by 15%. Now this is the first time we are actually having a skill like this. I have to say that this is very interesting how exactly is gonna work. Nobody knows. Everyone is trying to debate how the range engine is actually working, but nobody actually managed to find out or managed to debate how exactly it works. Now this guy is gonna have 15% speed on rage gained. It's a lot of theories that we can go through this. Is that mean that feral nature will give us 115, for example, if Leonidas is going to be a second in command, because this is a skill. So if you put him as a second in command, it should definitely work. Is that what it's meaning? We're definitely going to need a lot of tests to actually find out all the details. Like there is the 9 rage increase per turn talent. 15% out of that is probably going to be another rage. Are we going to see in the battle log 10? We can only test this when the commander is out. But again, it's first time when this is introduced. Speed of rage gained. Very interesting. And defense 30%. When army led by this commander has been reduced to less than 50% strength, there is a chance to gain a shield when attacked, damage factor of 600 for 3 seconds. While the shield lasts, increase the attack of troops. Well, we all know the shields, they never last. We know that Charles and Alexander, they both have like 1200 and they still don't last, not even a turn. But yeah, this is some damage absorption, so it's nothing actually wrong with it. This is actually just something extra, but I wouldn't say that this is pretty crazy. Horrible sacrifice. I don't say that this is a very powerful skill. It says while the shield lasts, increase the attack of troops by 50%. Not very hyped about this particular skill so far. We'll definitely have to test and see how powerful this shield is, but from our present commanders that we actually have, we already know that the shields are not as powerful. While on the map, Leonidas I attacks have a 25% chance to increase all damage dealt by his own troops by 5%, lasts for 5 seconds and stacks up to 4 times. It goes up to 10% when you max the skill, stacking up 4 times, that's 40%. But this is something that you guys need to understand. You're reading all damage, but they specify troops damage. So they don't specify anything. It's not going to have anything to do with skill, at least from my understanding. I would say that this is just going to be the normal attack and the counter attack of troops. I'm not sure troops do have any other kind of damage, at least from the battle log. This is what we can see. So pretty sure it's not going to affect the skill damage, or at least it shouldn't according to this description. But yes, stacking 40% normal attack and counter attack damage, which pretty much is the troops damage, that's pretty insane, because pretty much infantry, that's exactly the kind of bonuses they need. They need a lot of counter attack, especially that he is infantry and defense. So he is going to be the 3rd commander with defense talentry. Now we already have Charles and Richard, so the talentries is not going to be a problem with this guy. We pretty much, everyone knows the type of talentries that he has. And let's go to his expertise, because this is something that a lot of players messaged me and text me and highlighted. the 400% increase damage. So you're noticing in this description, so you guys can make the difference about when I was talking about the fourth skill. When the army led by this commander has been reduced to less than 10% strength, increase all damage dealt. So it doesn't mention troops damage, it says specifically all damage, and that includes skill damage as well. By 400%. Jesus. And increase damage reduction by 50%, lasts for 10 seconds. That's very, very cool that it only lasts for 10 seconds. I'll be as honest as it can be. This effect can trigger only once per hour after the army has left the city. Now the main question that people has asked me about this particular skill is how is it going to work in a rally? Well, we're gonna test him out and we're gonna find out, but I'm really happy they only put it for 10 seconds. Because the way we know how the rally works is that these particular skills, even if the rally is filled up, you're noticing the health bar. You guys all have seen plenty of rallies or rallies that keep going for a very long time. The health bar or the rally of the rally is going down even if the rally is filled. Well, that is the health bar of the rally leader. Meaning that if the rally is gonna go for a very long time and it's actually gonna get to 10% and the rally is filled up, for about 10 seconds, you're gonna do some pretty fucking devastating damage. Whichever commander you're gonna have that does skill damage with another 400%, you're just gonna do some numbers that will be freaking unbelievable. Imagine that you can put Leonidas as a second in command. It doesn't necessarily need to be the first. So you can have a skill commander as primary. When army led by this commander has been reduced, it doesn't specify necessary infantry. While on the map, Leonidas attack, again, it doesn't specify anything about infantry. This is the only thing that is specified about infantry. That when the army led by this commander contains only infantry units, increase defense and increase the speed of rage gained. So I suppose that this is specifically tied to just having infantry. Increase the health of troops led by Leonidas. So that brings Leonidas to a very versatile commander. They even put it, they're already giving us hints by just showing us his talents. That means that he will have part of other armies as well. Because this is the only skill that if you put Leonidas in any kind of army, this is going to be the only skill you will not benefit from, because this seems to be tied to infantry. But anything else, it's very useful, very general in other kind of armies. I have to say that there's a lot to take in about Leonidas. He's definitely gonna have a lot of utilities, second in command to pretty much a lot of armies. Overall review about Leonidas, I have to say that they've done it pretty good. He's fairly decent. So his expertise, I find it really OP, but again, it only lasts for 10 seconds. So how much can you do in 10 seconds? 1 or 2 skills, but that's probably gonna be enough to actually cause some devastating damage. Still, you have to reduce the army to 10% strength, and that in a rally is not gonna be easy. They definitely thought about it very well when they done all these kind of things, probably doing their own tests as well. But pretty interesting as a commander. Low direct damage factor, really low direct damage factor, but still increases the damage on the target. So I really like him. He seems to be pretty balanced, except his expertise. Everything else seems to be pretty alright. He's a good commander and a lot of utilities in plenty of other armies. Let's go to Guan Yu, because oh boy, I have seen his skills. Obviously I have clicked on them, and this is gonna be probably the strongest nuking commander in the game. Pretty much. The look is really good, and probably we should go on to the skills. Before the skills, he is infantry, conquering, and skill. So this is the first infantry commander with the conquering talent pad. But if they would have given him like Leonidas, versatility to Leonidas, then all 4 skills would have had utilities on the battlefield. Because if you check Leonidas, all of his 4 skills, you use them on the battlefield. It's just that if you put him with different armies, it's just this skill it will not have effect. So having conquering, pretty much it says here, when attacking garrisons, it doesn't says cities, it says garrison. That's very interesting, meaning it should definitely work on flags or fortresses as well. But let's go to his first skill, because this is the most phenomenal thing about this commander, and then we're gonna go forward and see that there is something also related to his primary skill. So it's not that it's infantry and skill, he also has very powerful skill damage. So I hope you are all sitting down when you're actually reading his skills, because Jesus, what were they thinking? Deals direct damage up to 3 enemies in a fan-shaped area, damage factor of 550, and silence the targets for 3 seconds. When Guan Yu is serving as the primary commander, increase damage factor by 1100. So similar to Edward, he needs to be primary. So we get up to 2000 direct damage factor on 3 targets. There is no penalty, no diminishing return. WTF to that. It's honestly, I have no fucking idea what they were thinking about when they created this commander. Infantry and skill with 2000 damage factor. We already have Sun Tzu, and we all know how much we use him and how powerful he is on the field battles and on the group battles. How is this guy gonna be? He's gonna demolish everything. And this is not all. This is not all. I'm just gonna go straight to it. Additional damage factor, because why not? I mean, seriously. When the skill Saint of War hits only 1 target, there is a 50% chance to deal additional damage. I mean, they were probably thinking 10, 15, 25. I just gave him 15%. I mean, what the hell. Damage factor of 600. They're also probably thinking 400, 500. And then someone says in the back, just give him 1000. And then someone else says 1400 and voted. That's it. When the skill hits 2 or more targets, there is a 50% chance to deal additional damage, damage factor of 100. So honestly, they should have just write 1 shot, 1 kill on his title and just be done with it. I don't know. For me personally, this seems to be a lot. This is just a lot for infantry commanders. They don't realize we have YSG, which everyone is using him everywhere. Now imagine if you pair YSG with this guy. You have the skill, you have the rage restoration, and you have YSG as a second in command, which also does circular area, which just empowered us, but it has 50% skill damage increase. That's the reason why Edward is doing so high numbers and everyone is so hyped about Edward, because Edward has 2500 plus 50%. But look at the difference. Rage requirements 1000, Edward require 1350, right? At least there is a reason for his high nuking skill. It needs a lot of rage. This guy doesn't. It needs the normal rage. And he also silenced the target for 3 seconds, because why not? Targets. So he can silence up to 3 targets for 3 seconds, because again, why not? Again, when attacking Garrison, increase normal attack damage by 15%. Normal attacks have a 10% chance to reduce a single target's attack by 10% for 3 seconds. But again, this is for garrisons. Now, I'm not sure, because if you're noticing, they put a dot there. So they've done the first part of this skill saying when attacking garrison, and then they put a dot, and then they started like another phrase. Normal attacks have a 10% chance to reduce a single target's attack by up to 30% for 3 seconds. Now, is this actually gonna work on the battlefield? We definitely need to test it, but I believe it actually does. So it's also reducing attack of targets, because that's why they kind of put it separate. It's in the same skill, but it's separate. At least that's what I'm understanding. Third skill, increase infantry units attack, cause why not? Up to 30% and 15% march speed, because, you know, we don't want infantry to be so slow. Upon leaving battle, Guan Yu heals a portion of slightly wounded units. Healing factor of 1000. Thank you very much. I mean, 400 healing factor, what's that? 200. Let's just give him 1000. Why not? March speed, yeah, just 15% should be alright. and attack as well. So imagine that people are usually running away from the infantry. So how many times you're gonna have chances to actually leave the battle? Have you thought about that? This healing factor is gonna be more helpful than you think. Now let's go to his expertise. When Guan Yu gains a shield, he also increased his active skill damage, cause freaking hell, 2000 damage factor is so low. He needs a boost, you know, just a little bit, tiny bit. When Guan Yu leaves a structure, he increases his march speed by 100%. Because again, infantry is slow, you know, so they need a boost. It's still 3 seconds, okay, so it's not that crazy. I would say that this march speed would have had a significant role if it would have been like 10 seconds. Like the other Cav commanders have the boost, but probably that's too much for infantry. Too much sprint with all that armor on them. So they only kept it for 3 seconds. Anyway, you're probably wondering, increase his active skill damage by 15%. So the shield doesn't need to be up for him to gain this 15% skill damage. Now there is a couple of things that you guys are not realizing about him. One is that we have that new trinket. Well, I call them a trinket, but however is it called? We have it from over here, which also gives you a shield. You're already connecting the dots. We have Skola's lucky coin. 10% chance to gain damage absorbing shield is still a shield, meaning that you can pop his expertise, another 50% skill damage. Cause why not? Then the second thing is about his synergy with Leonidas. So if you go through both of their skills, it's pretty much similar how they're kind of introducing all the commanders recently. They're always trying to find synergy between them. And the synergy between Leonidas and Guan Yu is super high. It says here clearly, under the effect of silence and attack reduction. Now if you go to Guan Yu, he silenced the target for 3 seconds. So that means that you guarantee get the primary skill from Leonidas working. On top of that, you have even more chances when the attack reduction of the target. When you reduce the attack of the target, to mention the shield, when the army goes less than 50% strength, you also pop the shield, which also increase his skill damage. So a lot of synergy between these two commanders, and pretty much I believe that they are made to be working together. But as honest as I can be, I don't actually think they will be working together. Some people will most likely put them together, but I don't think a lot of people will put them together because of the amount of skill damage that this guy can do. And like I just showed you, you can actually pop his expertise different ways. Infantry and skill, him and YSG, they pretty much gonna demolish any kind of garrison. I don't see a garrison standing still when Guan Yu and YSG actually send a rally. With that much tremendous of skill damage, I'm honestly terrified to actually see the numbers. Not to mention that he requires just 1000 rage to actually pop his primary skill. You have rage restoration from YSG, and you can get rage restoration from the skill over here. And if you launch rallies, we already know that you can do talent trees where you don't actually need the entire talent tree, so you can still get the full benefits of the infantry. And I think I can show you guys on Charles Martel. Yeah, pretty much you can do the same on Guan Yu. You get all the good stuff from the infantry, and then you're most likely gonna have enough to get feral nature. And then you put YSG as a second, and God help the rest. It's exactly like Edward is doing. I mean, I've done a couple of videos where I showcase Edward and how powerful he is with his primary skill and with as much rage restoration as you can get. This guy will most likely be the same, and the fact that he has infantry, that's gonna be even better. I would wonder how it's gonna be the next two Archer commander, and how crazy are they actually thinking to make them, since Guan Yu is just super crazy, to be honest. I was not expecting something like this. I mean, I feel like they are just throwing dices when they are putting down the numbers. They're probably doing their test, but anyway, you know, we're gonna test them, and we're definitely gonna find out the results once we're gonna have them. But this is just my first impression. I'm super hyped about both of them, don't get me wrong. I really like them. They are super OP, but they are kinda this type of commanders like Guan Yu that they are introducing into the game. In my opinion, they make the epic commanders look like advanced commanders, like blue commanders. That's just how it is. That's just how I see it. I mean, the amount of nuke and the amount of utilities and powers all these new commanders they are introducing, they kind of make epic look like blue. I don't know what else to say. I think I've been talking for a very long time, but again, like usual, I just want to make you guys understand a couple of things, so I need to detail. That's why probably this video is gonna be a little bit longer. Right, yo, infantry fans, your wishes have been granted. You guys gonna have 2 super powerful infantry commanders, another defense commander on the field. I would be terrified, to be honest. We already have Charles, we already have Richard, very tanky. We already have Constantine, very tanky. Now you're gonna have Leonidas, which again is also gonna be very tanky. I'm terrified. I'm really terrified for my cabs if I'm gonna meet a guy who actually knows how to do his infantry marches. Until next time, this is your boy Geroni signing off. Peace out, yo, and take care.